Hello everyone, welcome to Midnight Terrors. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more scary content. With that said, let's begin. The wind howled violently outside the tent, flapping the fabric as thunder rumbled in the distance. I could feel it, a pull, something calling to me from the box of scrolls beside me. The warnings echoed in my mind. The scroll is cursed, written in blood. But curiosity won. I had to know. As I unrolled the ancient parchment, my breath caught. It was written in blood, the blood of a prince who once sought immortality. They warned me about this scroll. I whispered into the storm. They said it was passed down through centuries, cursed and powerful. It speaks of a creature older than time itself, the Queen of Mystics. But as the storm raged outside, the truth hit me. This wasn't just a legend. Tonight, I would learn what no one else had survived to tell. Over 500 years ago, the younger brother of a mighty king began his quest. His journey took him to the farthest reaches of Ninjamena, where the dead and living walked together. He sought the Queen of Mystics, rumored to be a witch who could grant eternal life. For 7 long years, the prince wandered, until at last, he arrived at a dark and twisted forest. The trees were unnatural, bending in grotesque shapes as if warning him to turn back. His soldiers hesitated at the edge, but driven by ambition, he pressed on, blind to the true cost of immortality. What the prince didn't realize was that the witch didn't just promise eternal life, she controlled the very gates of the underworld. They call her the witch, the Queen of Mystics, I muttered, shivering. Over 500 years old, and the mother of the golden lance-head vipers, snakes so venomous they can melt flesh in seconds. The scroll's words painted a terrifying scene. Pharaohs, emperors, Mongol Khans, all had come in search of her power. From Egypt to China, rulers crossed the desert, chasing the witch's youth potion, but none returned alive or whole. The prince's soldiers were ambushed in the desert by a swarm of golden vipers. Their flesh melted, their souls ripped from their bodies, carried off by dark shadows that haunted the sandstorms. Their remains were scattered deep in the jungle, bones tangled in twisted roots. Snakes slithered through their hollowed rib cages as if guarding their eternal prison. No one ever returned. I should have never opened it, but I couldn't stop, I whispered, clutching the cursed scroll in my trembling hands. It speaks to me. It calls. A rustling sound broke my thoughts. I looked down in horror as a golden snake slithered closer, its eyes glowing with a menacing, knowing light. I froze. The ground beneath the tent began to tremble, rippling like water. She's coming. My voice cracked. She knows I've found her. The tent dissolved around me, the fabric swallowed by shadows. In an instant, I stood at the edge of the jungle, the twisted trees from the prince's journey looming before me, their bark contorted into grotesque faces, moaning faintly as the wind swept through their branches. I've crossed into her realm. In the distance, a faint glow illuminated an ancient stone altar, surrounded by dozens of golden vipers. Their scales gleamed under the pale moonlight as they hissed and writhed, guarding the altar. Bones and skulls littered the ground, half buried, remnants of those who had come before me. A low hum echoed through the shadows. She's here, the queen. A figure emerged from the darkness. The witch, the Queen of Mystics, stepped forward. Her twisted face was pale and cracked like ancient parchment, her robes tattered, and around her feet, the vipers coiled, ready to strike. Her glowing eyes pierced through the shadows. "You seek my youth, like all the others," she rasped, her voice like rustling leaves. "But there is always a price." I stumbled back, my heart pounding as she raised a crystal vial filled with a glowing, golden liquid, the potion of eternal youth. The ground beneath me cracked, revealing a swirling abyss filled with the agonized faces of those who had come before. Their silent screams echoed through the night. "Their souls belong to me now," the witch whispered with a dark, twisted smile. "Drink or join them." My hands trembled as the ground shook violently. The air filled with the deafening hiss of the vipers, their eyes fixed on me. I couldn't breathe. "No, I don't want this," I gasped, backing away. "But you've come so far. You cannot leave now," the witch hissed. Her bony fingers latched onto my wrist, cold as death, forcing the vial into my hand. The ground trembled again, cracks widening, and the abyss called out with the wails of the dead. "Beware the Queen of Mystics. Her price is far more than you can ever pay."